Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Ryan Aranda here, My Best Life Paraguay. What up, My Best Life gang? Anyways, we're starting out with some B-roll here in Asuncion. I hardly ever get to make it downtown to this area, Las Palmas, I believe that, yeah. And anyways, so we're gonna get started in just a moment here. But man, this gives me a lot of pride, man, just to see my country on the rise. All right, everybody. We're going to pass it off to me again and Dr. David Maloney. All right, everyone.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel here, Ryan Aranda, and this is My Best Life Paraguay. And we are joined by a special guest, Dr. David Maloney here. And Dr. David Maloney also has a nickname. He is the Lucky Charm of Paraguay. He doesn't actually know that he has that nickname.
First time hearing it.
Yeah, so anyway, we're going to do a poll either on my channel or his channel and see if he should stick with that nickname. All right, you guys? No, I'm just playing. But anyways, no, so Dr. David Maloney here, he does psychotherapy, and he's going to get more into what he does and explain it well, because even I don't really truly understand everything. But yeah, so we are in his place right now. We are in Asuncion. We are in downtown. And what neighborhood are we in?
Las Palmas?
Las Palmas. Okay. If I remember, I'll put it on the map like I usually do in my videos, where we're kind of at least the neighborhood. And I'll probably film a little bit of B-roll so you guys get to see what this place looks like as well. But anyway, so man, he's a cool dude, and we're gonna just ask him a few questions about, like, why are you here in Paraguay, and also just like his history, and yeah, if he wants, you can shoot some questions back to me, etc. So if you can start us off and just give us since you were a kid, like who is the David, the kid version of you, and then now coming into your profession in Ireland, and then we'll get into here why you're here later. But if you can start us off from
That's a deep question.
Yeah,
I'm the therapist here. I thought I was supposed to ask those types of deep, profound questions.
Hey.
But it's a good question. I first of all, I want to say when I was considering moving here, I saw your videos, and I think your videos, probably why they're resonating with people, is your sort of chilled out authenticity. I think you're very authentic. You're not trying to be something you're not. So I think that's probably what I try to be as well. I have a YouTube channel, and like, you can spend a lot of time trying to like edit and look a certain way and present as a certain thing. But I think people really now want people that are just being themselves. So I just wanted to say that about your content. I think it's awesome. So
Yeah,
keep it up.
no, thank you so much, man. And David here, I want to say you one of the first 50 subscribers, if not even before that. So like, he's still like seen my journey, and like I did a few videos. If you haven't seen at the beginning of my channel, that was well before I came here. I came here at the beginning of July, so I've been here for slightly over 2 months now. And David, you've been here at least in this trip going on 4 months.
Been here since March. So
March.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Longer than that now, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, 5 months or so. Yeah. So he's getting experience here in Paraguay, you guys. And he'll tell more about that afterwards. But if you could break down that story.
Well, I guess my childhood was pretty typical in a lot of ways. Playing a lot of sports, did a lot of soccer and Gaelic football. I don't know if you know what Gaelic football is. It's like it's an Irish form of. It's kind of like American football in a way, because you can use your hands and stuff. But
it's not rugby.
It's different to rugby.
Oh, okay.
It's different to rugby. So the ball is round. So I played a little bit of Gaelic football and a lot of soccer, and studied a lot. And I've been in university for longer than I would like to admit. Too long, studying various things. But I suppose that was emphasized when I was younger, the importance of an education.
Mm-hmm.
But to jump ahead, and maybe this will resonate more with some of the guys who are people who are watching this. I don't know, but to me, it was kind of a breakthrough point because I had invested a lot in my education for years and years, and but I was struggling a lot of the time when I was doing that with my content. A lot of it is about sort of self sabotage and procrastination and not going after your dreams the way you would really want to. And so I struggled with that a lot. And as I started to work in psychology and psychotherapy, one of the things I kind of wanted to do was kind of understand, well, why is that happening to me? So kind of in the middle of my own studies, I kind of started to do a lot more work on myself to figure those things out. And I found out that there is a different way to get things done, to be as productive as you would want to be without kind of, bullying yourself. And I think sadly, a lot of the stuff online, yeah, everybody wants to get things done. Everybody wants to like achieve their goals and all this, but a lot of the stuff out there is like, do this, do that, push yourself more. And I think that can help people to a certain degree. But then if it goes beyond that, it becomes unhelpful. So I don't really rely on, what I discovered really working on myself was that there is a way to be productive, go after your goals and do what you want to do with your life without bullying yourself. And it can be, to my surprise, it works. A lot of the techniques that I talk about with people. So I became much more, self-aware, I suppose is the word, about why I was self-sabotaging and all these things. And then after a while, I struggled a little bit in my career early because I had all this education that I mentioned before, and I wasn't really going anywhere with it. I was struggling a lot in my career, financially and with jobs and things. And, I was doing this sort of a lot of inner work and meditation and things like this. And I got this kind of insight one day, and it was a real eye opener for me. This is going to sound weird, okay? But it was like, I had this inner kind of sense that I needed to do things for myself. I needed to make things happen for myself. And I was on that traditional path of, you finish your study, you get a good job, and then you do this and you work in this institution, and then you probably retire, I guess. And that's that, right? But I think in a way, I don't know what you think, but I think those guide rails that are set up for people, that this is the way you set up your life and this is what you need to do. And if you do this, that, the other thing, everything will work out for you. I don't think that really works anymore in people the way it used to. And I think a lot of people are realizing that to really have the life that they want, that they have to make their own decisions. They have to kind of create their own rules and go after things in their own way and be willing to be a little bit different. And if you're willing to do that, I think it takes a little bit of courage to do it. And I'm not putting myself out there as the example in that, but I've done that a little bit in my life. What I would suggest,
I would put him out there as the example.
Well, I think you too, because I see you not holding back and being creative with your work and talking to people in a way that is desperately needed, I think, for people now. Young people, especially young guys, are looking for alternative paths because they're looking at what's out there right now. And I think a lot of them are struggling. And they're realizing that what we were told isn't really that helpful, at least not from their lived experiences. And I hear a lot of people talk about that in the with the clients I work with as well. Young people are looking for alternatives. But my original point there was, don't be afraid to make your own plan and to deviate a little from what people have told you is the only way for you to live. And I think you're going to be rewarded for that. If you pursue meaning in your life, you will find that even if it doesn't end up being what you thought it would be, if you just go after what you really think is important in life, has meaning for you and excites you, I think you will find some kind of, well, I know you will. You'll find some kind of reward for doing that in life, rather than always kind of playing it safe or pleasing other people. So I guess your content is probably, you see your content as kind of like giving people kind of an alternative option, or kind of opening their eyes to what's possible.
Yeah. I'll address that. And then you said a lot of things that I love, but Yeah, so my content. Well, first of all, I want to say your content is, guys, go watch his stuff, man. It's trippy stuff for real. Like it makes sense, man. Especially when he talks about the whole procrastination stuff. But he goes into way deeper stuff than that too. Just like why we do the things we do. You know, that's essentially, isn't that psychology, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
The motivations behind why we are with the way we are and why we do what we do. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, you know, he breaks it down in a way that like he says, it is it's, you're not overly hard on yourself. And I talked about that the other day in one of my other videos, that like, especially us Westerners, man, we're always just like either in competition with ourselves hardcore or everybody else around us. We're titles, we're salaries, and dating also goes, you know, by that as well. You know, and that's the standard where we're all from. Um
There is so much to what you just said there. Like, if there's like, if you're on the younger side, maybe you're watching this. I know if I was younger and I heard what you just said, it would go in one ear and out the other ear. Because to me, like, people would talk about self care or something, or taking care of yourself and making yourself a priority in your whole life. And I would say, well, that's kind of for older people, or that doesn't really apply to me. But and not don't get me wrong, I think going after what you want and having a purpose is really important. But there is, and I think for a lot of young guys, they don't hear that other side of the message that you're talking about there, which is you need to temper your ambition and your discipline with some self care, or some, if you want to call it, self compassion. That needs to be part of that balance, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you know, the times I was hardest on myself in life, I mean, that's it's toxic, man. It
is.
really can be. You could, you know, if you don't think that you're keeping up, man, just remind yourself of everything that you've already become. Like I always forget about that. Like, but remind yourself of the little rewards. For example, I just reached 500 subscribers. Like that, to a lot of people that may mean nothing, but to me that means a lot, man.
It's a big deal.
So
Yeah.
so you know, I just reminded myself that the other day, and like, you know, that was a cool win for real. Like it was it felt good. And you know, especially because everybody's like, when you probably know, when you start anything on YouTube, it's always just like, oh, what are you just gonna want to be a YouTuber? Like, so lame type shit, you know?
Yeah, I got a few raised eyebrows as well when I started making videos.
See,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you're doing psychology content, psychotherapy, you're doing like more travel, relocation stuff like I'm doing, or whatever, man. Like, believe me, that's what I talk about all the time. And there's not going to always be a lot of people that believe in you. It could be your own family, friends. They could kind of give you the, well, that's nice, or like some like super generic answers like that. But until they see it, they won't believe it. And like, you know, but anyways, so there's a couple other things too. Oh, well, I guess I never really addressed that specifically. Like my channel, yeah, I try to show what Paraguay is because I am from here. I did move here. But you know, on a deeper level, I try to not sugarcoat stuff. So uh if there are bad elements of moving here specifically, I'll let you know what they are. There's a lot of good ones though, and definitely more good ones than there are bad ones, for sure.
No doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, and he can attest to this. He's been here 4 months, and I can probably see that you already basically said that you're more at peace than you've probably been.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah,
back in your
I think you're right. I think there's like people who maybe are not happy where they currently are and where they live, for instance. It's like, I think one of the problems with that is, you go online or something and you start consuming content about why the place I live is the way it is, and you go into politics and all these different things, and everybody's negative and it's the end of the world. But then people either, well, they can kind of like become super negative about it. But why I think your work is helpful is that it's like, well, there is an alternative. There is like something you can do about it other than just consuming all this negativity about the place where you live. Because I don't really think that helps too much. I think, okay, it's good to be aware of the problems or maybe where you live, but if you're going to kind of like, like kind of, talk about the black pill a little bit, where you like just consume all this negativity about the world and where it's headed and everything. But there are things you can do, and it is scary. I mean, to move to a different continent or something is always going to be scary. And I definitely experienced like some anxiety when I was making the move to come here. But really, that was one of the reasons why I knew I kind of wanted to do it, because I was, it's kind of a cheesy thing to say, but some psychologists kind of talk about, the similarity between anxiety and excitement. It's fear and excitement are in a brain scan, they're kind of like very similar, really. You can't tell them apart. But so I think if something kind of interests you and maybe intimidates you a little bit, but if you find yourself kind of like revisiting it again and again, the idea of making that move, I think there's absolutely, I think your type of content, it's the stuff that you make, it's showing people that it's actually doable.
Mhm.
And now when you get here, there's another saying that, people say, everywhere I go, there I am. So it's not like everything is going to be perfect when you arrive in a new place. Now, there's so many great things about being here. I mean, it's a beautiful place to live, and the people are amazing. And there's a lot of freedom, I think, here too. We could probably unpack that for an hour, really, but I think the main thing I'm kind of saying here is, when you talk about this move or this as a potential, I think it's really helpful because it makes people feel like they're not stuck, they're not trapped, and that there actually are options. And if you're a young person, for instance, I know there are many, many reasons why you would think about relocating or making a big move like this. And it's definitely doable, I would say.
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate all that for sure. And I was actually talking to my guy Aaron the other day, because a lot, my content, even though it's travel relocation, it's a lot more than that. I go into like my stories and all that, all my time here over the years. But like I was wondering, like, what's the common theme that people are following me? And it was like, and I know I hear the authenticity and genuine answer, but like what I think what is probably what you're saying. And I was talking to Aaron, and I was like, if I do nothing else, if maybe the numbers don't resonate with you guys, maybe nothing else resonates, but at least maybe I can give you just the feeling of comfort of what it looks like to move overseas. If I do nothing else and that's the only thing I do, then at least I kind of am doing my job, I think.
Yeah.
And you guys can do this too, man. It's not an impossible thing. He's done it. I'm doing it. Like this YouTube stuff, and maybe YouTube isn't your thing. Maybe you're I don't know. I don't really care for short form content, but maybe you're a TikToker type or something like that. But but when he talks about my country, you guys, like this is where I'm from. So like it's really flattering that he's like he feels at peace here. And it's not just him. There's plenty of other Westerners, but like even for him to be here, living here in an apartment, thriving in life, doing well, focusing on his work, like that's very meaningful, man. And like you can't say that for everywhere you move in the world. Not everybody feels at peace, safe. Whether you're doing well in dating, whether you're doing well in your business, or being able to focus better. Right out here, I'll show some little B-roll, but man, his view is excellent. There's like high rises. It blows my mind because I've been coming over the last 12 years, and like even this stuff, there's brand new high rises, brand new shopping malls, just beautiful palm trees everywhere. Like I'm sure even in the downtown, I'm sure you still hear a bunch of bird sounds.
Sure.
Like nature is.
I was telling you today, like 5 parrots flew by my apartment today. It was incredible, just beautiful to see it.
Yeah, parrots, you guys, gorgeous animals.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So a couple other things you said. The not consuming drama stuff. I consider a lot of the red pill stuff drama stuff. Now, that's not to say that I don't agree with the message. I do agree essentially with the overall message, but don't follow these gurus, you guys. They'll talk about traditional women, modern women, and most of these motherfuckers haven't even stepped out of the country. You know what I mean? So like, what are you talking about, man? And like, so that stuff we were talking about this like in the terraza, but it's much more complicated than that. It's not just like a clean cut thing. Like, oh, you come here immediately, it's gonna be 100% like traditional. There's like elements of modern and elements of this and that and stuff. But and I'll cover this all in another video too. But anyway, I just want to bring that up because some of these guys, man, who just sit in towers or their basements and stuff and just have a mic and like you can tell they're not really doing much, and but they still have a bunch to say type stuff about like that kind of stuff. Like it's just it's just drama and it's not good for you. You got to follow people who travel. Like I said, it's cool when you mix in the red pill with like people who are traveling. There's got a lot of respect for Bo Refik out there. He was one of my main inspirations, man. He came to Romania, to meet his fam, or not meet his fam, but to go back to where his roots were. And then like 1 year later, I did the same thing here in Paraguay. So there are inspiring YouTubers out there, and and there's very informative YouTubers out here who'll explain and break down the ways that why you think the way that you do and stuff. So follow. I guess my message is follow content that's good for you.
Couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. And probably, and maybe this is a kind of a fundamental thing. Maybe it's an obvious thing to say, but my feeling is like a lot of the advice that's out there online for guys, maybe the red pill stuff and everything. I think there's probably it points to a lot of truths for sure. It can do, but ultimately, I think like let's say for instance the motivation to move to a new place or something. If it's to get a girlfriend or to get a wife or whatever, I don't necessarily think that's the best motive to do it. I think you got to like anchor yourself in working on yourself, because it's not like if you haven't worked on your own issues that you're just going to like fall into this relationship that you think is just going to be here when you jump off the plane or something. That's not the way it works. People are not that different, in different parts of the world just because it's a different continent or something.
Yeah, no. What he was saying, you guys, is like, I was telling Aaron this. I'm like, women are women. Tinder is Tinder. So what does that mean? So like, women's nature is women's nature around the world, and Tinder is Tinder. What do I mean by that? So that, like, you guys gotta understand the 6, 7, 8s, 9s, and 10s here on Tinder, they're getting swiped with hundreds and thousands of guys. Believe me, believe that, you guys. So anyways, like well, number one piece of advice, if you're looking for something long term, it is dating apps have their it's cool. I'm on dating apps and whatever, but like maybe that's not the right place if you're trying to meet the one. You know what I mean? And nightclub scene here is way different. It's not like it is in the States at all. Not even close. It's mostly groups of friends going out. It's very, very. If you're lone wolfing it up, yeah, I mean, like for sure, restaurants like casual bars for sure, but like nightclubs, like nah, like, you got to go with somebody, man.
Yeah, and again, like I think if you just like instead of like, because a lot of guys are focused on, well, should I try and meet women in bars? Should I try online? Should I try like day game stuff? All these different things. But ultimately, like, this is a bit woo-woo sounding, but it's about who you are when you show up wherever you are, So it's like building your self-confidence, seeing yourself as being the prize, and recognizing the value that you have in relationships. I think that's a big, big part of it, and knowing what you're worth. And probably like, I mean, if you come here, like, don't put pressure on yourself either, like to feel like, oh, well, I'm in this place now. Everyone talks about how great it is dating and I should have 3 girlfriends in the first month and a half or something. It's like, why would you put that much pressure on yourself? It's like, come here and just like maybe focus on having fun, focus on getting in good shape if that's what you want to do, or, chill out. Like the great thing here is like such a relaxed place to be. So like take care of yourself, start there, get those fundamentals in place, and then maybe you start to, I would say, become kind of like more of a social animal, in that you just want to be out there talking with people without necessarily the goal of, I need to hook up or I need to meet somebody straight away. Take your time. And I mean, I came here without the language, so I wish I had learned Spanish in school, but I've kind of decided it's going to take me like a year, 2 years. because I work quite a lot and I don't really. A friend of mine came here and he had it like turned off in 3 months, and I'm like, okay, that's not on the cards for me here because I probably just don't have time to do it. But I'm fine with that. Like a year and a half, I'm definitely going to be. I'm doing okay with it now, but like it's going to be. It takes time to do these things. So like again, that could be one of those things where you put all this pressure on yourself, where like I'm hitting it on the ground when I arrive. No, it'll take time to get to a place like this. So ease yourself in. And we were talking earlier about like one of the good things about the culture here is that like it's not like it is in maybe the States or in Europe or something where it's all like go 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 all the time. It is a little bit more sort of a more balanced kind of feeling you get here, I think. And I think people you see that in the way like people emphasize like social time or spending time with their family or things like that. Just I think it's really nice to see that. But I think that applies to anybody that comes here. It's just don't put too much pressure on yourself or don't have high expectations and focus on what you can control, which is taking care of yourself and making sure that you're in good shape and you've got a good attitude and a good energy and you're working on seeing yourself as having value because it doesn't matter where you are. I think if or like you could be in the most hospitable, best place to meet people, but if you don't have that kind of perception of yourself, it's still going to be difficult. So, I think I think making a big change like this can actually help people. Sometimes some people get that realization because as a therapist, like I work with people and we make progress. And you know, one of the big things that kind of holds people back is being in the wrong environment. And so making a change to your environment, like if there are, like say, toxic influences in your life or something like that, if it is possible for you to get away and branch out and do your own thing, I have found in my experience that that is one of the most transformative changes you can make in your life. Be even just doing your own thing, but surrounding yourself with people who are supportive, who want the best for you, who are not resentful towards you or undermine what you're trying to do. And I mean, if that's possible, that can be a really, really good thing, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know, we're not coming at you like as if we're perfect either. Like you know, we were talking up there is like a lot of this stuff we've learned off of mistakes, you guys.
Absolutely.
It wasn't just like we did everything right and now we're just preaching. You know what I mean? It was you know, and I've talked about my own mistakes down here too. And like one of the biggest things is having patience, man, down here. Like you know, and going beyond like any language barrier. I'm talking about like, you know, it's not hookup culture, man. Like, you know, there may be a few dates, you know what I mean, before you seal the deal kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So you know, don't make it the same situation that you were in whatever back home or whatever. Um yeah, yeah. So all right, where should we take this? um I guess
I
what
would just reiterate what you just said. It's definitely not, this is not a video of two guys saying, we know what we're doing. We have the answers. Like that's kind of the opposite of that. It's like,
mhm,
what I want to emphasize is you find out the answers in your own life.
yeah.
That's what it is. It's like, you know the way, and it's about trusting yourself. And some of that's about making plans for your own life, but it's also about listening to your gut, listen to that intuitive inner voice that's few people ever regret listening to, I think. But, you know, there's like, it's not about do this or do that, because I think that is a problem with a lot of the advice that's out there. It's like red pill stuff or, you know, like MGTOW and all these different things. And I'm not criticizing any of these philosophies, but ultimately everyone's an individual and they have to make their own decisions about what they want to do with their own life. And I would just say cultivate trust and listen to yourself and get still. Sometimes coming to a place like this can help you get still. You have to figure things out. Like maybe that's what it's about for some people coming here. It's just to figure things out a little bit. You know,
That's cool.
it's we're not coming here with the answers in hand. It's we're all trying to figure it out as we go along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not, I mean, especially for me, that definitely applies. Like, man, I know, and I always known like the moment that you get off the plane here, it's more tranquil. Everything is, and I already knew that coming here. So like, I was like, the moment I get there, it's just gonna be way better. Like, I'll be able to actually focus on life, man, and not just like, you know, numbers and this and that and that and this and just like, I don't know, but you know, yeah, absolutely. Like you can this place can heal you. That's what I think he's trying to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this place can, and also
If you let it.
not if you let it, and if that's your goal. If that's what your goal is, it can happen.
Hmm.
No doubt about that. And also, if you've identified that where you currently are isn't healthy for you, leaving it can heal you.
Hmm.
Because I think sometimes it's about just removing some of the negative stuff that's around you, rather than figuring out necessarily what it is that you need to do. Sometimes it's about like getting away from things.
Hmm.
And I don't want to talk too much about that because we could be here for another 2 hours, I guess, talking about the problems. But I don't want it to be that kind of video anyway, where it's like negative. It's like, just go. If that's what you feel you got to do, just do it.
Yeah, we're talking about a lot of heavy stuff, you guys, but the ultimate goal of my channel too, is just like to show to show you guys that it's possible, man. I'm a very average person. I have to improve on a lot of shit. You know what I mean? But if you dedicate yourself to like the move or first residency, for the love of God, and then all the rest of this falls into place. You know what I mean? But it's like, what's the alternative? It's the alternative is doing the same thing you've always done. I was thinking the other day, I was like, what's the definition of crazy? Isn't the definition of crazy like doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results, right?
Mm.
And I was like, well, if you think about it that way, it's crazy for me to live in the US. That's the same thing. Like what's more radical that I don't consider crazy is taking a life move. And like that's the change you need. You know what I mean? So
I was even thinking recently, like about having a goal, not necessarily of just moving, but like getting good at moving around. Like, isn't it a nice thing to know that you're capable of doing something like that? Even if you
oh
don't
yeah.
want to live here, it's like, it's a big thing to kind of boost your confidence in yourself.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I can just get on a plane and move to another continent if I want to. And it is scary, but it's so doable. There's all these little tiny questions. There's another thing I love about your channel is it's there's a lot of practical stuff in it. It's not about like making $1 million in a year and a half or something.
Just gonna say that.
But maybe you will at some point. I think like you had a video recently and it was about like buying groceries here. Like these are the kind of things that give people some kind of anxiety before they make a move like this. Or like I remember I was worried about like how does the currency work down there, the Guarani and but like that wasn't even a problem when I got here. You can use your bank card, but like the point is you figure stuff out when you get here. But your content is helpful with that, I think. Useful to know that kind of information.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of all over the place with like my content, but I did tell you guys at the very beginning, it's gonna be just all things Paraguay. It's not just gonna be me here like stories or just this. It will be kind of some that some of you may consider boring, but it's real stuff. And even that video he's talking about, the grocery one, like I break down like well, what are remedios? What are remedies, and where do they go? What's the best brand of mate to buy?
Mm.
You know what I mean? So you'll pick up little things hopefully that are helpful for you down here. And so if you guys have watched any other video on my channel, like that's I'll be doing a lot of that.
I had a kind of a funny thing where like I the first like week I got here, I went to the supermarket and I couldn't find milk. I didn't know how to buy milk here because it's different, right? So they got these like bags. I think they're in like Canada as well. It's the same thing, maybe in the States. And they've got boxes. But I was looking around for milk for ages and I couldn't find it. But like a friend helped me eventually figure that out, But it's just funny the kind of little snag you can run into. But
Yeah.
figure it out.
For one of the biggest things for me coming from freaking America are the conversions, you guys.
Mm.
We are pounds, we're going into kilos, Fahrenheit to Celsius, miles to kilometers. Like, bro, you gotta at least sort of recognize it. Like, okay, now when I go to the store, I only want un cuarto, right? They own kilo. That's like that much ham. I don't need a fucking medio kilo. That's like a shit ton.
Half
That's
a
like
pig
a
or something.
family. And like you definitely don't need a full kilo of anything. So like this is the stuff you just learn along the way, right? But this stuff makes you laugh too when you think about it. Like, fuck, man, I just ordered a shit ton of ham. Like, I guess I'm having ham the whole goddamn week. You know what I mean? And but it's funny, man. Like, coming from America, bro, everything's all fucking backwards and shit. We don't do it nothing the same the rest of the world does. You know what I mean? So yeah, that kind of stuff might trip you up, but man, that's the littlest stuff. Those are your littlest problems, man. Like, Like luckily I don't really struggle with the language stuff. Like there'll be words, don't get me wrong, that like kind of throw me off. Like, wait, what? But like overall, like 12 years, like I've had time to ease into the language stuff. So, but I know that that's one of the biggest things for most expats is the language thing. But guess what? You're coming to one of the best countries to learn. You know why? Because people in general, not just women, but people in general have a lot of love and a lot of patience for foreigners. You go to surrounding countries, Brazil, Bolivia, Argentina. It may not, well, maybe northern Argentina, yes, and maybe the bordering towns of Brazil. But you go to any other big city around here, it ain't the same, you guys. It's gonna be like New York. It's just like, nah, what? I don't got no time for that. Like, you don't understand me, like straight up. And believe me, I've been to Buenos Aires. They don't give a fuck, if you don't understand or you don't. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, they can't do enough to help you. Like they'll if you ask them to speak slowly, they'll speak slowly, and they'll go out of their way to help you. That's my experience.
yeah, you guys just say a simple like "más despacito, por favor," and then they'll say, "Oh yeah," they'll break it down a little bit, like, "Okay, and I understand you now." So don't let the Spanish thing like be a barrier. Like you said, he didn't even study. In Ireland, I just assume like every nation like tries to learn Spanish, but I guess that's not the case. They're like German and what?
We were offered German and French, which I think is crazy because like German and French are great to know, but they're only for those two countries. But if you learn Spanish, I mean, there's so many places that you have available. Well, so, but I'm pretty confident. It's like a year and a half. I think a little bit of time studying it, especially if you're here. I think because I notice in myself, I'm highly motivated to learn it, and I need it. And when you need it, I think it really helps you kind of like set it as a priority. And even talking with locals and talking with people here, it's just, I think that really helps with the motivation to do it. I think it's probably easier than it's ever been to learn a language, because there's so many resources online.
Yeah,
there's even like a couple of schools here that run courses and stuff.
Yep.
And I haven't done that yet myself, but I may well do that. But we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely, you guys. And for those who don't know, like we're a bilingual nation here too. So that's why like even you check out my family videos, you're gonna hear a lot of like yo para, which is Guarani and Spanish mixed together. But don't stress yourself. Just focus on Spanish first and then like, ease into other stuff. They're gonna immediately want to teach you both, but like don't stress yourself with Guarani. Believe me, that stuff is hard and I'm learning too, But it's it really is truly probably one of the best countries to learn Spanish. Our Spanish is different. It's dialectally or whatever. It's different, but it's a calm nation. People are going to help you. People are going to slow it down for you and all that. So, great in that regard. I don't know if we got into, can you just like give us a real brief description of what psychotherapy is and what's the difference between that and like psychology in general?
Yeah, because I actually did both of those. So sometimes people get into psychology because they kind of almost very common thing. People say, well, I want to help people. So they'll get into psychology. But then when you start to study psychology, there's a lot of statistics in it and you're learning a lot about like regions of the brain or cognitive psychology and social psychology, all these different things. And so it's interesting. I did that for a little while and did a PhD in that. But I kind of looking back, I probably didn't really need to do that because really what I wanted to do, I learned later was to actually talk with people and to work with people. So that's more the psychotherapy. The psychotherapy is kind of like talk therapy. You're sitting down with somebody face to face. There's different ways you can do that, but my approach is kind of a person-centered thing, at least to begin with, which basically you let the person talk and they lead the way and share what their problems are rather than they come and you say, well, I think your problem is this and you should do that. That's not what I do. It's much more, at least to begin with, you're putting it all out on the table and you're trying to figure out, okay, because like there's a lot of people who very rarely talk about themselves at all. And just to even have a conversation about yourself for an hour or whatever it is. Just that in itself can be helpful for people at times, just to talk about their own life and what they're really feeling. Now, it's not easy to do that all the time. It's not easy to go in and talk to somebody you just met and just kind of start pouring it out on the table, and it can take a little bit of time.
even though I just did that right now.
We're making progress.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something I love to do. Now I can also do it online, so it's kind of a happy thing that it kind of there's the time difference. A lot of my clients were kind of in the United States anyway, so the time difference is kind of it's actually easier for me to work here than it was.
Oh yeah,
So
I bet.
so that's
What is the time between Ireland?
So in Ireland is about 5 hours ahead of here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a bit of a difference there.
And that's the East Coast too. So like somebody in California, that's like 9 hours, you know, or something like that.
There's a big gap.
Yeah.
But therapy is, it's how would I describe it? So many different ways to describe what it is. But it's kind of like when I have someone who comes to therapy, I don't want to hear how good things are going.
Yeah.
I want to hear what's not working.
Yeah.
Where are you struggling? And then you can kind of set a goal for whatever it is. But you know, sometimes the problems we have, we also have solutions we think are in place. And sometimes the solution to the problem is kind of also the problem, if you know what I mean. That's a bit of a strange thing to say there, but sometimes like you keep trying the same thing as you mentioned over and over again and it doesn't work. So then we have to look at, well, what's this solution really doing for us in this situation? Like, is that really what we need to be doing with here? I know it's a very general thing I'm saying there, but it's my point is it is to a purpose. It is to make a change in your life. Like you want to see something change. If you're going to therapy, I don't agree with this thing where you're going to therapy for 10 years and nothing is changing externally in your life. You know, I think there needs to be, ideally you kind of set up goals for whatever it is you want to do, whether that be an improved relationship or even just better self-esteem or feeling better about yourself, or it could be more practical things like if you want to get in shape or you want to make more money or you want to do whatever it is. That can sometimes be one of the goals or that you can do. You can break therapy, but it's kind of the goal in it is really to be as honest with yourself about how you really feel about things.
Yeah.
As you possibly can be.
Don't bullshit yourself, you guys.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
That's it. And it's not easy to be that honest all the time. Like,
yes.
We're masters at bullshitting ourselves. Let's be honest. Like we can all do that. Sometimes we're a mystery to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really rewarding though. I love doing it because the best thing about my job is when you're working with somebody and you can kind of see a light bulb go off where they're like, okay, I understand what's happening here. And that is a really, really good thing to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. No, man, psychology, man, or psychotherapy, I'm not sure what, but it's all extremely interesting. Seriously, go follow the channel. Oh, and you have some books too, right?
I do. Yeah. I have a book. My main book is called Procrastination Decoded, and if you're interested in it, who should be interested in or who should think about looking at it is if you struggle to get things done, or if you're struggling with guilt around being productive and kind of feeling like, I'm never getting it done and beating yourself up about it.
That's a lot of us, you guys.
There's a hell of a lot of people have that issue. I certainly did.
I did too.
I classify myself as chronic procrastinator. So I was like, I remember in university, I was like, everything was done at the last minute and it was always done below standard to what I was actually capable of doing. So eventually I figured out why that was happening. A lot of it is to do with guilt. A lot of it is to do with low self-esteem and a lack of self-respect. And again, it's stop beating yourself up about it. That's the first thing you do. And also prioritizing taking care of yourself. Just give you a little spoiler there about what's in the book. But if you're interested in that, you can find that book. It's on Amazon. And
if I remember, I'm going to put an image of the book right here, and a link to if I remember in the description below. And I'll also put his at Dr. David Maloney. That's your channel, right?
Yeah. Dr. David Maloney Psychotherapy.
Okay. Yeah. Dr. David Maloney Psychotherapy is his channel name. Yeah, we're probably gonna wrap up here. I know we've been going for a while, but hey, this is one of the best conversations I've probably ever had, man. But like, it's a meaningful one, especially for young men. And I know there are ladies that follow my channel. I don't know the percentages or the true percentages, right? But the reason I focus on talking directly to men and young men is because I am a younger man, and like I made a lot of mistakes. Like I'm doing a few things right, I feel like right now. or whatever, but like, that's kind of that's the reason, right? We relate to people who are like us, right? So like that's why mostly women follow other women, most men follow other men. It's just that's the reason, okay? Uh, and that's kind of why we're talking right now a lot about men's issues. It's because let's just be honest, we have different issues than women do. Let's just recognize that. Let's not be all woke and be like, oh, but we're all the same, you know, you know.
Yeah, even psychotherapy, I find is
Sorry,
it's a little different sometimes, because like a lot of guys don't want to go in and just start talking immediately and open up or whatever.
No,
And I've noticed that can be different. I think it's probably to do with some of the ways we're brought up. But I also find though, like with this type of content, I think most female viewers kind of appreciate it. I don't think there's because it's like it's coming from a place of actually trying to help people, and I think what helps men ultimately ends up helping women, and what helps women ultimately ends up helping men.
yeah, absolutely. Like I know there are ladies following it, and you guys are, and you ladies are wonderful. And these are all solutions as well for all of you too. I know a few ladies here that are thriving in Asuncion, and
Me too.
they're from all over the world, so it's just absolutely a solution for men, women, single families. You guys, I mean, let's start crunching the numbers. See if you can really get that $500,000 house in America or in Ireland. Can you really? And if you can't, try to make the steps to do it here. I have houses on the channel. The top one, a beautiful house. This is 134K, USD, and that's the top ones. There are other ones that are less than that. And then you get out in the country a little more. There's less than that. There's other cities less than that, towns less than that. So, it's start researching this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Because it could really be like, and then not only is it a temporary solution, it's your retirement solution too. You could actually live off of Social Security. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. Like you could do 800 a month, especially if you own a house by then. Oh man, you're fine. And if you have any kind of pension or anything like that, oh, you're extra fine. You know what I mean? Like, not only are you fine, you're thriving. You're killing the game. There's no and you're gonna come to a nice society where you're gonna be appreciated. And I know you guys are, and Westerners in general, we're very what's the word? We would like to give back to society. Generous. We're generous people. A lot of you guys are very generous people. All right. So anyway, so don't think like that, like, oh, you're just coming here to exploit and use your dollars for all the bad things. Like, no, you're just coming here to start a new life, start your best life, So anyways, probably wrap this up here. It's been an amazing conversation. Do you have any last things you want us to know about your life or about stuff in general?
I don't know. I think we started this conversation not really knowing what we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
So that's the best type of conversation as far as I'm concerned. But I don't know, like maybe if you're watching this and I mean, me and you are probably going to hang out a bit more. So if you want us to talk about other things here or make other videos or I don't know, have other conversations, I don't know if you can let it be known, I guess, in the comments or something. And because I think these kind of conversations are really helpful for people. And so maybe we'll do it again.
Yeah, no, I'd love to do a part 2, and maybe I'll structure it a little bit better. I wanted actually to not come with a list because when I do lists, I
never structure or script any of my videos on YouTube, which is probably painfully obvious.
Well, me too.
I kind of just prefer. I tried that once or twice to sit down with a script, but I was like so wooden and robotic.
Yeah, my first video, even that I wasn't really scripted. I just had some notes and then I would just go into it. But still, even that was just like, like let's just do this, right? But yeah, it's been fun, and it's like I said, man, it's really cool to see people like my man here. What nickname do we give you? The Lucky Charm, the Lucky Charm of Paraguay.
I actually had that nickname when I lived in Florida. What is it about you
See?
Americans? And
How
Lucky
did I,
Charms?
how did I know you guys? Yeah, bro, we're ignorant as shit, you know, us Americans. So everything has to be the most stereotypical shit, right?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and then the Paraguayan me wants to give him a nickname immediately. You know what I mean? So, oh my gosh, man. So yeah, I guess yeah, you gave last. Do you have like any just last like from the David in you or the psychotherapist in you, like just like any last advice that you just want to give struggling people?
Yeah, something that's coming to me actually, and
Okay.
what I tell people a lot, even in the book and everything on procrastination, is like is create your own life. How do you do that? Is I think we all have a story about our life, and we all tell ourselves a story when we wake up in the morning, like how my life is, who am I as the character in the story. Just check we're still good.
We're still
I was just saying about we have a kind of a story, and one of the things I think is super helpful is to like realize that you are the author of your own story in your own life, and even before you like jump on a plane or something, it's like you can start to work on what is the story I'm telling myself. This isn't new; it's not a new idea, but I think it's an idea that's super, super helpful. It's helped me so much in my own life. It's just changing the way you talk to yourself about yourself as the main character in this story of your own life. And I think that takes a little bit of practice, and a little bit of, dedication to being aware of the importance of the story, first of all, and then telling a different story if you want to have a different experience. So I would urge people to take that on and give it some consideration.
Yeah, I love that. You know why I love that? Because it's so similar to, there's some YouTubers that talk about this. Bo talks about this, but even when you're like working out, it's like leveling up like you're a video game character, right? Like I kind of, at first it didn't stick with me, and I was like, yeah, that is kind of cool to think of it that way. Like, hey, let me like level up, like let me like move abroad, let me like get in shape, let me like, So today when I was just doing push-ups and stuff, I was like, man, let me level up my stats and stuff, like.
Yeah, and it's the way you talk to yourself is just,
Yeah,
first of all, you'll just feel different, and then it'll have to manifest in changes in your own behavior. But
yeah,
focusing on what you want, that's one of the most important things I think there is, because a lot of time when we wake up in the morning, it's like, well, what's possible? What can I do? I can't do this. I can't do that. Or it's, I have to do this. I should do that. Why did I do this? Instead of really just like having as your focal point, what do I want for my life? What do I really, really want? Because we're not really taught to ask that question very often. Like when you're in school or whatever, they don't tell you to focus on what you want. They will often tell you that it's a pipe dream or real, or you can't do that, or you're not good enough for this or smart enough for that.
or they will tell you focus on what you want, and then they'll judge you for it. Like, that degree ain't shit, or that ain't shit. Oh, believe me, I got that too in college. Like, your degree ain't shit. I'm like, man, I know, but it's fuck it. At least I'm gonna graduate. Like, you know what I mean? So
that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Is because it came to my mind, I guess, because I just see that as so fundamentally important. It's not the only thing. Like, obviously, you got to take action and do things, but like that action will come a lot easier if you're kind of working on that inner story for how do I see myself? And very often, like, because we all have a story, whether we like it or not, and the default for it is, we all kind of come out with like difficult childhood experiences. We're not going to have a default positive good story about ourselves. So if you currently are sitting there thinking, my story is pretty bleak, it's like most people's story is pretty bleak.
Own it
to begin with. Yeah. And that's where you start, and it's like, okay, what's a little bit better here for me to, like, one of the things is we're all with the bad story of who I see myself is we're going to fixing it immediately. This has to be fixed. And sometimes that emphasis on fixing yourself emphasizes, well, I'm really broken, so that's not really always the best way to do it. It's to, and I think you mentioned earlier, it's like, look at your life, like you talked about, like 500 YouTube subscribers, right? It would have been so easy for you to just hit that milestone, and then it's memory hold, and you're immediately on to now, well, what's next? What's the next thing I can do? But like, super important to just stop and validate your current situation where you are, even if it's not ideal. What is good about it? Can you get skilled in like finding, okay, well, I'm relatively healthy right now. I have some good things in my life. Yes, I want to improve. I want to see more growth in my life. But you have to start where you currently are and seeing the good in it, and then continue to focus on that, and build momentum in terms of building a better story for yourself, one that serves you more. So I don't know. That's one of the main things I would say.
Absolutely. Well, I'm not going to give any more advice because let's just end on that. So yeah, it's an honor. Really,
Thank
truly,
you, my friend. Absolutely a pleasure.
And, we have a lot of respect for each other's work, and it's we're gonna definitely do a part 2. Because it's cool to bring it up with you. I know you guys get tired of my bullshit all the time, so let's bring in another man to find out his bullshit. You know what I mean?
Or my bullshit.
No, I'm just playing. No, but a lot of stuff he was telling is like, it's really trippy stuff. But you guys, he'll break it down. Watch his videos. Check out his book around procrastination and all that. But yeah, this is a great conversation, and we're gonna end it here because my phone's gonna die. And and I'll throw all the links to his channel, book, all that too down in the description. Until the next video, you guys. We're out. See you later.
Take care.
Hey, what's up, fam? So we're here on the top of a tower. Man, what a Tribeca. And so this is where Dr. Dave Maloney stays, and this place is cool, man. You see, you got a lit pool up here, and this is what I'm saying, man. These are the payouts once you get here, like affordable living in a high rise, which, in our cities back home, these places are top dollar. And check out the city view. Here, hold up, I'm gonna pause. Like, check this out. Like, say you need a moment to just like step away from your computer, step away from your bullshit, just come up here, just chill out for a while, take a dip in the pool, something like that, and you're living life.
Good as they come. Okay.
And like, there's 2 major shopping malls. This one in front of us is Shopping del Sol. This one over here, I think, is what's the other one?
Yeah.
Shopping del Sol. Oh yeah. Paseo Galeria is the other one. That's the over like here. So, man, like, this is beautiful for me, man, to see this. But there's all kinds of restaurants, bars, karaoke places, gyms, whatever, man, down here. So Asunción, it's the place. All right, you guys, so this is the other side of the Tribeca building, and so you can see 21st century 2024 Asunción. Very much a lively city, very much coming up in the world. Has every service, restaurant, and everything that you could ever want, you guys. Cheap Ubers too. I'm telling you, I took an Uber here from San Lorenzo. San Lorenzo is about 25 minutes away. It was $3.14, you guys. So, you know what I mean? Like, that same trip back in the States would have been $25. You know what I mean? So anyways, if you're not staying down here, which a lot of you are, but just in case you're not, this is what it looks like. All right, y'all.